Welcome back to Life's Challenge. My name is Avital, and this week's Parsha is Parshat Mishpatim, which is such an interesting Parsha, because in last week's Parsha, in Yitro, we received the 10 Commandments, which are so well known and so spoken about, but in this week's Parsha, we actually received 53 additional commandments, 53 mitzvot. Basically, the entire story of this Parsha is additional commandments, and it's additional laws that we have, mitzvot that we have, that we are obligated in. And it covers so many different topic areas. It covers accidental and intentional death, and it covers damages, and it covers slavery and freeing of slaves, and it covers laws of the land and laws of property, and what happens if our livestock destroy people's property. It really covers so many things. It talks about money and lending and interest and all of these topics that are still so relevant in our lives, all of these laws that many of us still have to deal with on a day-to-day basis in our interactions with other people. But it's interesting because these laws are very different than the ones that we receive in the 10 Commandments. In the 10 Commandments, it's pretty straightforward. It's either do this, like do honor your mother and father, or don't do this, like don't commit adultery. But this week's Parsha, it's a lot more detailed. We're seeing intricacies of specific amounts and consequences to our actions. Whereas in the Parsha, in Parshat Yitro, we're just told about what we should do and what we shouldn't do. In Parshat Mishpatim, we are seeing the result of our actions and what the consequences are when we do something that's bad or when someone does something bad to us. And what I also thought was really interesting about Parshat Mishpatim is that what it's really teaching us, it's teaching us accountability and it's teaching us about responsibility. Because take the famous example of an eye for an eye. You cause harm to someone's eye and you have to own up to what you did, take responsibility for your actions, be accountable for the things that you have done, and pay that person damages. You have to pay them the fee for the damage you caused. That's not an easy thing to do. If, as an example, another example in the Parsha, if your ox goes and harms somebody, or if your ox wanders off and grazes on somebody's field and eats their produce, you have to take care of that as well. That ox is your responsibility, and therefore you have to be the one to pay for the damages. You have to be the one to pick up the pieces because that's your property and you're responsible for it. It'd be much easier to say, that was my ox, that wasn't me. What do I have to do with that? It's not my fault that my ox got up and wandered and ate somebody else's produce. Why do I have to take care of it? It's not my fault, it's clearly the ox. The Parsha teaches us about the importance of accountability and of recognizing when it is our doing and doing the right thing. And we see that additionally with money lending. Money lending in the Torah, it says that if we lend money to another Jew, we are not allowed to charge interest. We give them the money and they have to pay us back, but we're not doing this to benefit ourselves. We're not doing this for our own monetary gain. We're doing this to help another Jew. We have a responsibility, the Torah is teaching us. We have a responsibility to help another Jew in a time of need. And that's such a beautiful thing. So all of these laws, all of these mitzvot in this week's Parsha in particular are teaching us how important it is to take responsibility for ourselves, to take responsibility for the things we own, and to take responsibility and to care for our fellow Jew, to not shy away from people who are in need just because it's easier, to not run away when we have created a problem just because it's easier, but to stand up, to take accountability for our actions, and to recognize that being responsible for ourselves and for others is the right thing to do. It might not be the easiest thing to do, but morally it is the correct thing to do. So I hope we can all take that lesson to heart, and I hope you have a wonderful week in the Shabbat Shalom, and I look forward to speaking with you next time.